Can you state your name and ask a question?
The gentleman with in the white.
Yeah. Mr. Alistair? Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. My name is Alistair Lane. I work for the European Aquaculture Society. I think my question is for Hilda and possibly for Inken, but I'm not sure you'll help me on that. This morning I heard when we talk about microalgae that there were something like 4,000 patents made over the last 3 to 4 years on microalgal strains, and therefore we mean then by the actual cells themselves. Innovation is not just about products. We measure innovation by patents. That's one of our indicators. But at the same time, the real innovation there with regard to microalgae surely comes from products and molecules that we can isolate from those strains. If we're protecting strains, which means that nobody else can get their hands on them, isn't that kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with regard to the critical mass that we need to actually get the blue biotech area moving?
Should I? Well, we had a discussion earlier today about patents, and I think it's crucial because no company or investor will invest before they have patents. But we also need to accumulate knowledge and not reinvent the wheel too many times. So, and it's a very difficult balance. To me, to discover an organism is not the same as to invent the use or how you can use the product. It's so much easier to just find an organism and describe it, but then you have to really find, well, okay, what do I do with this? And how do I make a product out of this? And that's, to me, where the innovation starts and where you have 15 years of development. So research is one thing, but the development is so much more. And I think one crucial thing for the blue biotechnology is to acknowledge that, well, we have a large pool of companies and research areas that are looking for new lead compounds, but that's just the start. You really have to take one of the good ideas and not focus on 4,000 of them, but go with one idea and try to take it all the way. And if you want to go into the pharmaceutical world, you need to spend 15 years of this development. And before we can have some of those successes, I think we still will have some struggling in finding finance.
Did anybody else on the panel want to address that question?
In the cosmetic industry, of course, there are patents as well, but it doesn't have to be held for that long. So we are a little bit more short-term than in the pharmaceutical. And then what you can do is license that, and then it becomes like good for everybody, but then it's worth your upfront investment.
A last question, maybe in the audience. Can you state your name? And if you could, possibly ask a short question, then we'll have a short answer.
Cedric Rath from Luxembourg. I provide corporate and trust services. Have you already considered the ethics products, meaning products for Muslim population, for example, like halal products? And halal products are involved in the cosmetics, food, pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. So a general question.
Who would like to answer this? Maria.
Hi. Yes, I think there is a market there for those types of products, and especially in the marine, like, there isn't the stigma associated with, say, fish-derived protein as there is with, say, like agricultural-derived protein, But furthermore, also, like prion diseases and things like that, that would be an issue in the food industry where marine protein would be a more preferable option to agricultural derived protein. I think, because of the BSE scare and prions and things like that, So it is an option, and it should be a market that food companies are targeting, So.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, in cosmetics, there are definitely niche companies that are addressing that particular market. In the food supplement also, I mean, they, instead of having pork bellies, you know, to be the wrapper of the gélules and everything that you intake, they replace it with celluloid, for example. So there is a lot of application addressing that particular market. But in my particular company, no.
It's almost time now to wrap up, and I'm going to ask you maybe to make a small statement, each of you. Let's take 3 minutes. What will be the message you want to send to the audience and to the BioMarine world? What is your message, and what do you see in the next future? What are your expectations? Maybe, well, let's start with Aline. Aline, 3 minutes, no more.
A lot of things in 3 minutes. One thing is smart money for smart mover. So it is very important to change our way to our behavior, our mutual behavior. That's the first thing. The second thing is taking into account the diversity challenge. Cedric just have a few words of halal business. You know that halal business is very important because it's very connected with blue business, because the both are on the same conception of biodiversity. They are also on the reasonable use of resources, and it's really a good, really huge market, potential good market. So we have to take into account the challenge of the diversity.
Thank you. Cynthia, your word of conclusion.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I think I agree with what everyone said, and if environmentally beneficial innovations are profitable, investment will follow. And in the meantime, there needs to be public support in the form of tax breaks, grants, and other incentives to boost blue business. And also raising public awareness is a big factor.
I like this. You're not talking about public money, you're talking about tax cut. Yeah, well, this is something different, and I like it. Hilde?
Well, I think for the blue biotechnology, I would start from my perspective. I think we need to clearly define the product. What are we offering to either the consumer or the patient, and then try to work your way backwards, because I think it's so easy to start with the technology or a compound and then try to find ways to use it. And if you start the other way around, start to identify the patient, the needs, and the payers and payers' behavior, it's much easier. There's so many things that you need to address: cost of goods, production methods, sustainability, and you have to start to look at all of those things quite early in the process.
Thank you.
Lara, would you mind closing comments?
Although my business is quite different than biotechnology, I would agree with very many of the points that Hilde just made. I think that information, so informing people about what it is that we do. Our market is ready, and it's there, and it's huge, and it's expanding. So that's not our problem. Our problem is explain to people what we do, doing it better, and of course solving the various, and the reason the image is so important is because we cannot produce if we are not socially acceptable, if we don't have the space to produce. So we need to solve these problems in order to see how are we going to produce, where are we going to produce, and what we're going to produce. And also all has to be holistic. So I would say that's really the challenge for aquaculture, traditional aquaculture, is looking at it as a systems-based approach.
Okay.
Maria?
I would agree with the panelists, and I'd just like to add that funding bodies really should look at the hurdles that exist in order to make the blue option an economic option for everyone. I would encourage small food-based companies and other companies to use their public sector. We do valuable research. It's publicly available and it doesn't cost you anything. And I would encourage national bodies such as the Marine Institute, who fund the Nutrimar project, and thank you for that, to continue to fund this level of research, because if we are going to come up with new ingredients and functional food ingredients in particular, these ingredients in the long run will have an impact at a governmental level in terms of healthcare costs and things like that. So you are what you eat, and functional foods can be seen as a pharmacy towards disease prevention. So really, we should be investing in that. And it's a unique opportunity for the marine sector to get in on the functional foods business. And in the long run, and again, you're talking about vision, so I would encourage people to be long-sighted in investing in food research. You know, it will reduce healthcare costs and solve a lot of the issues that are topical at the moment, such as obesity, heart health, and diabetes. So thank you very much.
Nadia?
My vision and my wish would be that it would start with each and every one of us. Anybody involved in any sort of business would believe in the blue economy, create the demand, so there would be profitability and success for everyone that shares our belief.
I think we've had quite a full panel. This is obviously a much bigger discussion. We've touched on finance, we've touched on consumers, we've touched on research and development, we've looked at timelines, and all different kinds of industries. So I want to thank all of our panelists for contributing to that. I think that they really exemplify that this is a new ecosystem we're talking about. It's not just one element, and all of these different pieces of the puzzle work together. So let's look at the blue economy like an ecosystem and all work together for the benefit of what that future means. Thank you, all of you, for your visions.
And what a nice ecosystem. Thank you. So we look forward to seeing you tonight, the party. Okay?